right. Hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of SaaSy Moms. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Anya. And, I want to start this episode just from a situation that happened, Wendy, like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, what
Because
happened?
we are recording with you, right? And
Yeah.
my partner is the one who needs to sit with a kid while I'm doing that. And so he like he says, "Hey, Anya, there is something on the chin. What is that?" I'm like looking into it and I'm like, wow, this is a baby's spit up, like a reflex. And then it's so funny. I'm like, why a mom is required to answer this question? You know, that was
Yeah.
just the baby's spit up.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot of things. Funny you mentioned this. So, I was, picking up my older son the other day, and then one of the parents' dad was like, "Oh, like, have you registered for all the summer camps?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I did." And I asked him like, "Hey, did you register?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did. Like, my wife did XYZ, right?" I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Hmm.
cool. Like, I want to learn about more about why." He's like, "Yeah, I just ping my wife." So I did, and then I was like, "Hey, like, oh, I heard you registered for this," and he's like, "Where did you hear that from?" And I'm like, "Oh, your husband. I saw him at the pickup." And then he was like, "I never mentioned that." Like, I'm like, I'm like, what? He's like, "No, I
Oh.
registered like this other thing and then this other thing." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So it's like just in general, I think men sometimes just have no clue on what's exactly going on. And then
I think so.
funny enough, I asked my husband, I'm like, "Hey, do you know what the kids are doing during the summer?" He's like, no, like, what do you mean?" Why are you asking me?"
I know, and hear you going all crazy about
Yeah,
like,
like,
like a multiple things going inside of your
I
head, and
know,
they're like,
I know.
yeah,
Yeah,
summer planning.
yeah. He's like, "What do you mean? You have to plan? Like, doesn't it just happen?" Like,
Yeah,
anyways, yeah. Funny you
magically.
mentioned that. They just magically happen. Anything
Yes.
that we do.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was funny. Anyways, today we are going to talk about very, I think sensitive topic. Uh, because, I actually receive a lot of messages from girls just saying that, hey, like, Anya, can you give me any advice? Because, my pregnancy was planned. I definitely want a child. I want to have a kid. This is my priority. But now, as I'm pregnant, I worry about my career. Even
Mm.
though I have like good support system, it took me so much time, it took me so much effort to build my career, but just losing it is really scary. Can you give me an advice? And like this is a topic for us today. Career stall during pregnancy in tech. Is it real or not? And Wendy, what do you think?
Well, I think you and I actually felt the same during pregnancy, right? And I think we chatted about it even then when you were pregnant or, on mat leave. I think for me is I wasn't worried as much as more so I felt very unfair.
Mhm. Yeah.
It was
Mhm.
like, why does our career have to stall when men did not? And I think it was more for me is like I've worked, so hard to the point where, I build my career. I know, what I'm good at. And what's funny? You mentioned this because I had this kind of similar thought as I was pregnant. I was like, we like women, we have it tough. Let's just, talk about our timeline. We
Mhm.
graduate university, let's just say, around
Mhm.
24, 25. You build your career. I would want to say you need, I don't know, 3, 4 years to at least know what you're good at, what you want to like, specialize in and all
Yeah.
that. And then what, you're 30 now? And then
Mhm.
it's like your biological clock.
Yeah.
So technically, you're supposed to get pregnant before 35 if you want to maybe not leverage, the IVF or other methods because, our eggs decrease dramatically after 35. Technically, we don't have that much time, to be honest, like to really build a career, get pregnant, and then kind of jump back into it. So it's just like I think at that time, I felt more unfair than anything. I'm like, why do I have to stall
Mm-hmm.
my career when, men in a similar situation or similar career path do not? But they still get to enjoy, being a dad, being a parent. I think that to me was more than that, than kind of that like internal struggle where I'm like, oh, it's so unfair.
I mean, absolutely. I do have friends who feel exactly the same, exactly the same. And how to solve this issue, right?
Mhm.
I just like one of the things that I want to mention is that we are also located in Canada, so obviously like Canadian like system is a little bit different from US system. In Canada, we do get a one. And obviously, this moment of when you come to your boss and say, "Hey, like I'm pregnant,"
Mhm.
is quite challenging.
Yes.
Um, and I honestly, like, if someone is watching this podcast because they want to have some reassurance, I don't think that I can give that reassurance to people because, in my opinion, if you decide to prioritize your child and take some time off, not like a month, not like a 3 weeks, because maybe some women can go back to work in a month in order to pursue their career, then likely their career will not be affected. But if you're a mom and you do want to take the maternity leave, you want to spend a year with your child or even half a year, I think you have to be prepared that silently your career will be on hold. No one will tell you this into your face. Your employment status will still be with you. But if like organization doesn't really like value work-life balance and doesn't talk about like motherhood and childhood benefits, then likely you have to be prepared that you will not be able to just do as much as men do, who are or any
Yeah.
person who is not pregnant does.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And especially when we're in technology and you know how technology moves at, lightning speed, things change like weeks, months, like let alone like 1 year for Canadian women. We have the privilege, obviously, having a longer mat leave, but it also comes with, a longer amount of time that you're away from your work, right? But one thing I just wanted to say, because I've been through, two pregnancy,
Hmm.
and I've been with two different companies, right? And I want to just say, like, legally in Canada, we are supposed to get back into our original position that we had before pregnancy. But interesting, for both situations, I was able to. But very early on in my career, actually, like in my first job, it was in a tech company as well. And when I first joined, the accountant that was in the company was just going on mat leave. So
Hmm.
I was able to, interact with her and, get to know her as a person. And when I saw her come back, that role was actually eliminated. So I learned that very early on that even though, okay, legally we're not supposed to, but there's so many like loopholes that companies could do, just like, hey, your role has been eliminated, another position was, created, maybe a slightly different title, things like that. Things could happen. So when I felt this kind of, unfairness, even with the pregnancy, I think what I took away from that was primarily is like, okay, all the work I have been doing leading up to, my career and all that is with me. Like, regardless if I come back to my position or not, obviously I would want to just because of the comfort, right? Navigating pregnancy and navigating, having a child and then having to navigate a new career on top of that may be challenging. So I just want to say, like, I feel like as women, we just have to hold on to, okay, like the career that you built as far as before the mat leave, it's with you. So like, don't like discount it. Those experiences very, very valuable that you can take basically anywhere. But what I do recommend is you do need to kind of sort out your career goals, like where you are really good at, like having that sort of like leverage, if you're really career driven before you want to go on mat leave. Because I do feel like the earlier when I was in my career, I feel like you're a little bit more, I don't want to say replaceable, but your skills aren't
Hmm.
as valued. But that's just the reality of it. So you have to kind of, figure out yourself.
I like how positive you are. I'm less positive because, okay, to me, like the fact that your title is there for you, it's definitely true, right? Let's
Yeah.
say, if you're a director of product marketing, you can come back to a director of product marketing, but there is a lot of context behind it because because you might come back as a director of product marketer, you still can have your salary, but will it be as, let's say, will this position where you come back will be the same and like same like as impactful as your
Hmm.
previous role was, right? And I also have learned because I'm a manager, and I actually 75% of my team are women. And when one of the employees went to maternity leave, honestly, up until I don't know, a month before this person was returning, I didn't know if this person would come back to my team or if this person would be as part of, let's say, a different team and a different product. At this point, it's quite not fair because, you will, again, the person is like, let's say, product owner. They will come back with product owner. They will receive the same salary, but now they're suddenly working on a product that they originally, or in a team or with a boss that they have never talked to or they have never
Hmm.
knew before, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, it's kind of like so interesting because I'm at the point where I'm on mat leave right now, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know where I'm going to be returned. I know that, yeah, my company, hopefully, if I will not be fired due to certain events, like if I return back, I'm not sure it will be the same product. It will be like the same position in terms of status within, like
Yep.
unspoken status, unspoken policy
Yep.
within organization. In fact, a person who took over me, right? It's basically a person who now suddenly gets much more exposure and more products. So just because I went to mat leave, this person got a leverage.
Yes.
This is how I feel. Like
Yep.
they did get a leverage just because I went on maternity leave. And maybe the game would have played differently if I
If you
wouldn't go,
didn't.
if I wouldn't, right? So
Yeah.
so the truthful and legal, there is like legal implication of it where, yeah, legally you get everything you had before, but usually contextually, all of these unspoken silent policies, you are now suddenly out of the game. And
No,
unfortunately,
yeah.
you have to accept it.
No, and I think that's more like I think if you're going to go on mat leave, you have to accept the fact that you might not even go back to your original position. But what I
Exactly.
do want to say is like the experience that you had led up to whatever your experience, like none of your companies can take that away from you. And like,
Hmm.
and I'm sure like Anya, like if the company that you come back to does not give you the right autonomy, doesn't give you what you deserve and what you think it's, your worth, you probably look for something else. So I think it's just like we need to take that experience with us. But the other thing is really interesting. It's my first mat leave. So I actually did not had anybody replace me from my existing company. It was we actually hired a contractor to
Hmm.
do the job that I was doing for the
Mm.
12 months, right? And it was, to be honest, so awkward. So when I came back, I was expecting kind of my company to obviously I would wish for them to keep me, but also
Hmm.
keep the other person because she's been actually doing a really great job. Like
Hmm.
she's actually a lot more senior than me. She is like a lot more senior, and I know her previously, and that's how I
Hmm.
brought her in. But we didn't keep her. We didn't keep her at
Hmm.
all. So it's like there's so many of these situations where I've seen firsthand, like my first job, people, changing positions, and then it's like, oh, this job no longer is there. And then like the second situation when I was on mat leave, another person just like their role was gone, even though they were doing a really good job. I know it's a contracting position, but there's so much opportunities that they could have just leveraged her. And then for me, when I went on mat leave for this one, I'm like, I wasn't expecting anything. I'm like, okay, if I go back and my job is still there, great. If not, be it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I can take the experience I got so far to find a more appropriate company that would appreciate the work I've done. So I think it's just like I think probably as I got older, I'm like, okay, I understand it's probably unfair, but work is only a part of your life that I need to really appreciate other aspects, and like maybe that can work can take a back seat, but my family life, it's like, proceeding forward. I think it's the different mindset that I had as I'm kind of aging.
Yeah, yeah. Like I actually I will disagree, like in my opinion, I disagree with you in terms of like contractors, because as long as a person who got hired for a company knows that they are just replacing a person on mat leave, and then company says, okay, sorry, goodbye. I actually think that this is a fair game, and actually this will be, I guess, ideal scenario
It
for, let's
is
say,
like for
every
me,
person.
but
Yeah.
it was awkward because I think she was expecting to have a full-time position as well. So it was such an
Yeah.
awkward position when I was back, and then it's like,
Yeah. Again, as long as company is open about it, I like
yeah,
you can expect whatever you want. The worst comes when no one talks, like when there is unspoken,
true.
truth
Hmm.
and unspoken things happening. And this is where I kind of see that there is a trend. Not every company, right? I guess one of the advice that I would give to a person, like a woman, well, let's say, who actually does want to have a kid one day, select company wise in terms of if you want to be pregnant, just select a company that values this type of lifestyle and values that. Because if, let's say, even legally under the country laws, you, let's say, protected, but companies don't care about like pregnant women, for example, or people on maternity leave, they will just honestly like discharge you very easily. Like one of the examples is Netflix. I don't know about now, but a couple of years ago, I know that Netflix, even though they're in US, they offer, for example, for women, the full pay of their full salary for 6 months. They do expect this women to come back after 6 months, which is very huge for US, right? They also have in their workplace, they also have, let's say, lactation rooms where they understand that a breastfeeding woman needs to pump, right? So this type of things you can learn very, very quickly. And again, I knew I wanted kids, but I never thought seriously about it. And that's why I didn't care about this type of policies or benefits that companies provide. So I am like where I am now. But the biggest advice that I can say is that if you are planning for that, sometimes 5 years can be a long time, but it's honestly not. So just select your company wise.
That's a good
Yeah.
tip. Yeah, especially there's a lot of companies that provide like top-ups. Because
Yeah.
like for mat leave, majority of the time you only get like a small amount of your pay, but a lot of companies do provide the top ups, which is something I overlooked as I was kind of building my career because I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, like it's only a few months or whatever it is, but it matters when you're
It
earning,
matters.
yeah, when you're having another human being to take care of and money adds up. And so it actually it's a really good tip.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, one of the also examples, just Workday. For example, it's a large CRM system for like human resources. They also, like in Canada at least, they do offer 3 months of a top up. Plus, I know a story where they just hired a woman who was 6 months pregnant. She worked for 3 months and went to maternity leave, and they kind of were okay with that, which kind of impresses me because Honestly, another thing is, you know how like companies legally cannot discriminate against you being pregnant, so they need to hire you no matter what. But again, how do you control it?
Yeah,
I might
exactly.
just, I might see like two candidates, one is pregnant, one is not, and to the pregnant one, I can say, sorry, you're not qualified for this job. I didn't like, or you're not fitting my values, right? So this policy is a kind of interesting and can be easily manipulated.
Yeah,
So I don't
I
know
agree.
how you can really like do that
Yeah.
to really ensure that the people are like that women, the pregnant women are treated fairly.
I know, I know. All right. So I know there is another thing that we wanted to chat about was okay, like now you're on mat leave, and I think we
Mhm.
both experience this because, as you mentioned, is always kind of like interesting to tell your boss you're pregnant, right? Because pregnancy takes 9 months and obviously it takes a toll on your body. And then in Canada, we have at least 12 months that we can take. So technically you're away for 2 years. And I know we had this discussion when I think you were well deserved of a promotion even before your mat leave, but you were told that, hey, let's wait until you're back, and then we'll see. And I actually was told the same thing, right? So Anya, do you want to just chat through that?
I mean, I mean, again, it's interesting topic because if you look at the legal, this is considered to be honest discrimination. When someone tells you that, okay, or like even tells you verbally that you're going to be promoted, you're going to have like extra stock options or extra salary increase, and then suddenly all of this goes downhill because you end up not like being pregnant and company expects you to go on mat leave, like it is considered discrimination. That's all I can say on this topic. Now, again, we just end up just living with it, you know. But I think it's unfair treatment again. I don't
Yeah,
know what.
like I think I think as women, there's obviously like I think we just need to understand what that means for you because sometimes is like we are deferred a promotion until you return, but that also means your pay is not technically as much as it should be even before your mat leave, right? So it's just I think there's a lot of things that I think even for pay, there's still research and data that tells us that women do get paid less than men. And
Mhm.
then I think on top of this, we have experienced it firsthand that, we were kind of like, hey, like until you return, like obviously you deserve the promotion, but until you return, let's talk about it. So I think it kind of adds up to the unfairness that I've mentioned earlier about like just
Mhm.
between women and men. I don't know what I'm trying to get at, but I just think I just want to kind of acknowledge that if you feel like you are being treated unfairly because of, you being a woman, you being pregnant, I think it's a fair assessment or a fair feeling that you're feeling because I've been there and I felt the same and Anya, I don't want to speak for
Yeah.
you, but I feel like we felt the same. So yeah, I just want to acknowledge that, you're not the only one feeling that way. I think all women have experienced this, but it's like, how do we have to sort of shift our mindset to understand our life is not just about work. It's also about, our family and other things. And sometimes it's just, career have to take a backseat and you should be okay with it. And yeah, I think that's kind of my best advice. Just
Yeah.
understanding your priorities.
And also like to kind of talk about a little bit more of this like fairness, right? Fairness and like equality and things like that. So it's just kind of policies are there. Everyone talks about equality, everyone talks about discrimination and things like that. But kind of this is never correctly like regulated, or I don't know,
Mm.
like it's very hard to regulate.
Yes.
right? Because there is never like again, there are a lot of like things that go behind it. And so how the regulation is going to happen is a question because clearly right now regulation cannot completely solve this problem. And I just want to say that the biggest thing that I would like to let everyone know, especially like women again, like just choose your company wise because this is the only thing you can really
Control.
do
Yeah.
is like think about it before. And when you are young, you're hungry. I was like you, Wendy, same. Like I didn't care about it. It's like who cares? Whatever, everything will. But it hits, and it at the end of the day, it you will not be happy in your key moment. So the only thing you can do is just to like find a company who openly talks about like maternity benefits, who cares about this, and probably they will have the unspoken policies that will support you in a key moment.
No,
Because
I
like
totally agree.
I really like your like story about this contractor. I know that this woman expected, but this is like a perfect scenario. They find someone else, this person is working, you return, they reserve your seat, the same position sort of thing, right? And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is the best scenario, probably. But anyways, so another topic I want to just bring up is my friend is actually going through this. She was she was pregnant and then she was on mat
Mm-hmm.
leave for 18 months and then she got pregnant. So basically she went to work again for maybe 6 months and then now she's on mat leave again. So how um do you like I guess like a lot of people do have that question. Like my friend, it's kind of like in the same boat
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, oh, like I have a huge career gap. So basically, when she went back to work, her
Mm-hmm.
company didn't give her as much, work to do just because obviously she was going to leave in, 6 months, right? And she was going to be gone again for 18 months. So basically, back to back, she's kind of out for almost like 40 months. Have
Mm-hmm.
I actually wanted to, I'm curious on your take because I kind of gave her my feedback on, because she was obviously struggling. She's like, man, like I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking a huge backseat because basically I'm out of work technically for 40 months, which is a huge time in technology.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? Before I kind of like, I'm just curious, like what would you say to her if she was your friend?
Okay, if I would be her friend, I would say, look, this is true. This is true. You are taking the gap because the people who would be on the same level with you, likely within a year, will be already ahead.
Mm,
So you should have started your own business. And if so, then you wouldn't have any stalls there. But if you didn't start your business,
yeah.
right, you have to just like suck it up. Or you just don't take such a like, or then you prioritize your career. So then it
Mm,
all comes to a priority where, like, do you care that your child is with you and you are on top of them every single moment? Or can you go to work? Can you afford a nanny? Right? Maybe you can decide that you just going to have like a full-time nanny or 24/7. You will use your savings for it, but your career is so important and you might be a better mom, if you're going to work. Um, Maybe even potentially talk to your boss and say, hey, can I like if like, you are up for a promotion, for example, or if you're performing, you can say, look, I'm pregnant, I can go back to work in 2 months, but like, can we talk about the salary because I'm ready to return, I will rock it, but I need to hire a full-time nanny. Um, can we think about like salary increase so that I can do it?
yeah.
I guess this would be but like my best advice
Yeah.
in this sense.
Yeah, I kind of like was similar because I think I told you before as well was I actually didn't take the full 12 months because I actually it wasn't because I wanted to go back to I was worried about my career. It was more like I'm a better mom when I'm not a full-time mom.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely. I know a lot about this.
Yeah, so I think that's the primary reason. But yeah, like it was kind of the same. I was telling her like I don't think you can be afraid You just have to because I think her biggest thing was the people that she was managing is basically now her senior because of
Mm.
this huge gap. I'm like, well, it was expected, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
technology. Um,
No.
it's like almost 4 years, 3.5 years. Like that's a long time. You don't expect people to stay at their, current career level as when you left. Like the world doesn't stop, right? Um, so I think it's just I think as pregnant women, my biggest advice is like I think you have to have the right mindset in terms of understanding you won't have exactly what you wanted potentially before your mat leave because that promotion, that position, whatever it is, might not be there, but you got to be
Mm-hmm.
okay with it. Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
be always like I don't know, thinking like what if? Like the what
Yeah.
if is not there. You have a kid, you have a family, that's kind of, your life. So I think you just have to, acknowledge that and not live in the past and be like, hey, what if? I think that's the worst. And just kind of spirals. You spiral as a, as a woman, as a mom.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and like even the same happens within the family, because I like there is one like I read one comment from a woman. She said that like my partner like right my husband he got a raise a few weeks
yes.
ago and it directly benefits our family, which is good. But guess who doesn't get a promotion this year? Well, guess who doesn't like really get any benefits from work? It's me.
Yeah.
So he still gets to enjoy the growing baby and loving family, but it's just unfair. Though
Yes.
I would say, like again, for like 4 years, 3.5 years, that's definitely like a too huge of a gap. I also think
Yes.
that 1 year is also a pretty big kind of you being outside of the workplace, like for 1 year. But yeah, like 3.5 or 4 years, it's kind of too much.
Yeah.
Because you can build like entire career. You can become from junior product marketing manager to director within like four
Yes.
years, honestly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So, and that was the reason I'm like, especially in tech, it moves so quickly.
hmm
So I think it's just like having the right mindset and not thinking that you're gonna get back to where you're at. Like I think you just a reality check is like probably key.
hmm
But
hmm
anyways, Anya, let's
hmm
get into our one of my favorite segment is like just chatting through, mom stuff. I
Okay.
know you traveled. I think a couple weeks now with your kid. How
Yes.
was that?
Traveling with kids is more difficult than traveling with a cat. Even though both of these events are pretty hard. Well, you all are talking to an sleep obsession mom right here.
Yes.
If I wouldn't be so sleep obsessed, maybe the trip would be very nice and enjoyable. But it ended up to be a disaster, which, by the way, the trip itself was okay. And I guess it's just a big extra kind of extra weight on you as a mom because you have to not only pick yourself, you have to pick your kid, ensure you have all of the supplies, even like diapers, if you don't plan to buy them somewhere, like really like pack it like you are now packing for two. And then obviously for me like timing was a very very important aspect of it. um Definitely like for in terms of sleep, my kid who was like 4 months old uh now was placed to a totally new environment, which took a while for me to like get him to sleep. I did read some forums, and some moms do prepare their kids in advance for how and where they're going to be sleeping, and they kind of like train their kids to be sleeping in different, like in it, let's say in their like stroller,
Hmm.
and things like that. I didn't do it really. We do have a crib in my like in the house where we went
Yeah.
to. But the worst happened after the trip because as soon as my kids started to getting used to that new environment, the timing was so that we had to leave. And now my kid again started to getting used to this new environment. And I think I'm still recovering from that trip because I still cannot get fully my kid towards like a normal schedule of total amount of sleep. So he somehow got overtired and like accumulated a huge sleep debt, which took me like weeks to resolve. So I would say traveling with kids when they're so little, and if you are not like contact napping them, was pretty like stressful event, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My first trip with my kid was actually overseas. I actually don't know what I was thinking. Um,
why? How old was your kid?
I think he was, no, actually that's not true. So we had like road trips and things, and that wasn't too bad. Well, let me take a step back. So the first year we went on road trips, and that wasn't too bad because like my firstborn, he was actually a great napper doing car rides. So that was actually not too bad because I would time our car driving aspect like around his nap, so it was actually great. The first overseas trip that I took was when he was a year and 9 months, approximately. It was to attend my friend's wedding in Asia. That was crazy. Um, Not only the jet lag, the whole eating thing, like sleeping with us in the same room, which he's not used to, and then coming back with the jet lag. It was crazy. I was so tired that I seriously did not take a trip the following year. Because I'm
Oh,
like, I was,
exactly,
I
exactly.
was, I was really traumatized because I'm like, what's the point of traveling? Because it's so tiring. Like, it's not even the trip itself is tiring. It's like the aftermath was like just so tiring. But what I do got to say, looking back, because what happened was COVID then hit. So I couldn't travel. I'm like, I miss traveling so much. So I just want to say, I know it's hard. Traveling is hard, and it's you would have correction to do after you're traveling, regardless if it's like, you give them a lot of junk, you give them a lot of TV time, you give them, I don't know, anything to make your trip
Hmm.
easy, and you would pay for it after. Is the paying for it after that like it's driving me crazy? And I'm sure it's the same as you. But
Yeah.
I just want to say I'm like I would I would still want to do it just because
Hmm.
it's like the trip, it's like it's there's moments that you miss, and like you're still going to another
Yeah.
country, you're still missing it, like you're still doing other stuff. But I tell this to all my friends, cool, don't have kids yet, travel as much as you can. Like do everything, go everywhere. Having a kid traveling is so hard. Like now, like I'm going on a trip next week, I
Hmm.
have to pack for 4 people.
Oh my God. Oh my God. How is it going for you, by the way?
Oh my God, I'm not like really done yet.
Are you excited?
I'm excited,
Hmm.
but it's just like packing and unpacking, and it's so much work. But I still do it. Like I'm like, I know it's gonna be tough. I know it's gonna be crazy, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's still worth it.
But actually, like I think like also like I want to acknowledge like partners a little bit here because like my partner doesn't really care about sleep so much because I think he is a man, and maybe like
Hmm.
men, they care more about like physical safety of their kids more than like all this like training and things like that. So he really like we are not on the same page because I'm obsessed about sleep and he's not, which is good. But I think like obviously whenever like I had to like pay off for this trip for the next 2 weeks, I was driving everyone crazy in our household, everyone. So, but after like 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, oh, I miss like Vancouver. I want to go back there. Like, and I was like, I don't care, even if I will like pay off later. But my partner was like, no, we are not going to Vancouver anymore. But I do think that it was actually very nice because it kind of shifted my mindset and my everyday routine,
Routine.
which was so exciting despite
Yes.
of anything. So I think like I didn't acknowledge this advice that you mentioned, like still go. but I agree with it. And now I think this is what kind of happening to me because I'm like, oh, I wish like I want to go on a cruise. I want to go
Yeah.
like to Caribbean. I want to like just to enjoy my life. And I'm stuck
Yes.
here.
Like
Yeah.
my best advice is like don't let that stop you. I know you're gonna pay for it because I've been there and I can say for a fact 100% you'll pay for it and you'll probably like regret it. But I think as you look back, you probably won't.
Aside of sleep, you mentioned that you can pay for like letting your kids to watch TV.
Oh my God, yes, I do. I just let them do anything. I'm like, oh, like you want to
Okay.
eat like fried food? That's fine.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't want to eat
Uh-uh.
like vegetables, like that's fine. I think it's like just whatever makes it easy for the trip, but I do pay
Hmm.
for it after because they would be like, oh, I want this. I'm like, nope, we're back home now.
So do you limit your kids in terms of TV time, by the way?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Like I don't really watch like let them watch TV.
Hmm.
But like on plane rides, they watch
Hmm.
the entire time.
Okay, got it, got it.
Yeah.
Something that I want to discuss maybe at the topic for us to really like note is that um let's talk about introducing gadgets to your kid.
Okay. Okay.
So,
I
like
don't really have any methodology, but I can talk about like what I
yeah, at
do.
least how you did
Yeah.
it, and I will tell about like my thoughts. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's I think an exciting topic
Yeah, yeah.
for the next time.
Yeah, I'm curious your take too. All right. Anyways, I think we're up on time because I do need to pack as well.
Okay, nice, nice. And I
So,
see my partner going with a kid and a cat
oh,
back home. Everyone is coming back, yeah.
so we're gonna do our mom duties. So with
Yes.
that, if you like this episode or if you have any advice for us for, when you're pregnant, now you're going back to work or anything that you want to share, as well as like traveling with kids, any tips and tricks so then we don't pay for it after, please leave a comment. We'll love to hear about it and read up on it. And if you like this episode, of course, subscribe and like it. So bye for now. See you next
Goodbye.
time.
Bye bye.